Biden tried doing a presidential order that would end student loans, that it would forgive their student loans up to, I think, $35,000, $50,000 for these woke blue-haired baristas who they made really bad decisions on their majors. They can't get jobs, and now they got to forgive their loans. But these are rich white elites largely. And so it was weird to see people like Charlemagne the God champion this as an amazing thing, basically, that you reward people who take government loans and then just don't pay them back. How is that America? Don't take the loan if you don't want to owe the money. My kids are going to college, my oldest three. We have to pay our loans. We have to pay our bills. They're not going to get forgiveness. I wouldn't even let them. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are, where because you guys watch this channel, you're paying for my kids' college just by watching. So thank you. Let's get to the article. This is going to be hilarious. I'd love if you guys subscribed if you have not yet. Think about it. Just think about it. Here's the article from, well, I'll go to a tweet first because this is how I found it. Let's give credit where credit's due. This is Ilya Soman says Monday was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day for Biden's new student loan forgiveness plan. 2 different federal courts ruled against it for good reason. Both decisions were by, get this, Obama appointed judges, which bodes ill for plans for chances of appeal. That is, this is something that Democrats said was a bridge too far. Also strange that Joe Biden only did this for votes. He's trying to appeal to younger voters and say, hey, I'm going to forgive your loans. And then he's going to say, but it was Trump's evil Supreme Court that knocked it down. But it wasn't Trump's evil Supreme Court. It was Biden appointed judges. Here's the article over at Reason Magazine. We'll read just enough to get the information out. 2 federal courts rule against Biden's new student loan forgiveness plan on the same day. Both rulings were by Democrat appointed judges, a result that bodes ill for the loan plan's future. It also bodes well for something else. Can you guys think about it for a second? This means our justice system is kind of working still. When Democrats are overturning obviously overreach from the president does not have the ability to cancel student loans through a presidential order. You know, the purse strings of the government are supposed to be handled through the Congress or through some other oversight committee, not the Supreme Court and not the presidency. Okay. President Biden's new large-scale student loan forgiveness plan. So he can run this through Congress. Just have Congress vote for it. It'll be totally legal. But he can't get the vote. So he's going to do a presidential order. And it had a horrible, terrible, no good, very bad day. That's because 2 separate federal district court judges ruled against its legality in lawsuits brought by different coalitions of GOP-led states. Moreover, both of the judges who issued the rulings were Democrat Barack Obama appointees. That makes it hard to argue the decisions were a result of ideological or partisan bias and is a very bad sign for the administration's chances of prevailing on appeal. Now, my commentary is this. In the future, I think the only judgments we're going to believe if there are Republican cases brought up that Democrat judges endorse, or Democrat cases brought up that Republican appointed judges endorse, right? Because then you can't just automatically go, oh, this is just bias, guys. This is just bias. So I know this is in a weird way, this is good news. It ought to bring you hope a little bit more in the structure of our rule of law. Because that's my big question is, do we even have a rule of law anymore? Do we have justice? My fear is we don't. This is evidence on the side that we do, and that's why I'm bringing it to you. This is an important case in its own way. The new loan forgiveness plan, known as the SAVE plan, S-A-V-E, which would discharge at least $156 billion in federally backed student loan debt, is a successor to the one the Supreme Court invalidated in Biden versus Nebraska last year on the grounds that the administration's actions were not authorized by Congress. Ding. That plan would have discharged some $430 billion in student debt. So they tried taking it down a notch, cut it in half, hoping they could float that one up. While the administration claimed last year's plan was authorized by the 2003 HEROES Act, they have defended the new plan as an exercise of authority delegated by the Higher Education Act of 1965. But both plans use vague statutory language to justify a massive expenditure of funds, and both are vulnerable to attack under the, quote, major questions, unquote, doctrine, which requires Congress to, quote, speak clearly, unquote, when authorizing an executive branch agency to make, quote, decisions of vast economic and political significance, unquote. It was therefore foreseeable, and in fact foreseen, that the new plan might well suffer the same fate of the old if challenged in court, and that is what happened today. Now, I don't have to give you much more detail than that, other than this is another form of the presidential, this is his overreach of his office. And so all these judges are saying is no. See, if the president had this power to do, to move money around in a major way, Trump could have funded his own wall without Congress. He tried with a presidential order, it got knocked down, because that's just not the job of the president. It means the institutions are still working. It means the Democrats who come in and break all the rules didn't break this one. So again, credit where credit's due. And we'll just tell the Democrats, look, this is not political. Okay, these are Obama judges. Welcome to Doug in Exile, where we still celebrate that thread of the justice system and institutions and non-politicized blind rule of law still working for a little more. Give credit where credit's due. This is a victory. And Biden can't now milk the youth and say, look, I forgave your loans, but that evil guy over there didn't want them to happen. No, the evil guy was Barack Obama's judges. I'm Doug in Exile.